Hello and welcome. It is Life Leftovers with myself, Rosalie, and this podcast is very different from Breakfast Leftovers as it is really more personal, in fact. What happens is I keep telling you that you should always feel free telling me what's going on with you, what's going on in your life, what's bothering you, and if you ever need somebody to talk to, or maybe you need some kind of guidance and you need some kind of help. And within the email that you send, I'm going to see if I'll be able to actually help you. And obviously, if I can't help you, I will get somebody to help you that is more qualified than I am. But in this regard, for Life Leftovers, right here on this awesome podcast, being the very first one. So, yay, thank you for sending your emails. I've been going through them one by one and very, very much with attention, with immaculate decisiveness is exactly what are the necessary steps that I'm going to take to help you, as well as possibly somebody else that is possibly going through the same thing that you are. So, I received an email from Anonymous. Yes, from Anonymous. And in fact, this email, when I got it and I read it the first time, I realized that it's something that definitely happens to a lot of people, and it happens within the lives of so many of us, especially growing up in life. There's going to be this kind of trials that we're going to go through. And this is a common trial that every single one of us is going through, or may go through, or has already gone through it. And hopefully you've succeeded with it, and hopefully you are still succeeding with it if that's the conscious decision that you've made for yourself currently as well. Now, what I'm talking about is Anonymous. She sent an email and it reads as follows. Hi, Rosalie Ann. I'm Anonymous, and I've been dating this guy for like 3 years now. We met when we were still in high school, and right now I'm in my matric year, and it's awesome. We're still dating. We love each other very much. Now, I told him that I'm going to wait till I'm finished writing. I'm going to wait till I'm finished school. I'm going to wait till I'm finished everything that I'm getting, to do in my life. I'm obviously going to, not put the whole thing because it was a very lengthy email. Now, I would like you to please help me, because I still feel like I'm not ready to have sex at this age. And I don't know how to tell him, because already for like 3 years I've promised him and said that let's wait after I'm finished writing my last matric paper. And this is the year that I'm writing my matric, and I'm afraid that I still feel like I'm not ready. And even after writing my final exam down the year, I am still not going to be ready. So I don't know what to do, and I don't know what to tell him. I'm kind of scared, and already our relationship is reached to the point where I feel like, what if he's hanging around me because he's expecting to get that? But deep down inside, I also know that he loves me, and he's not just around to get the cake. So please help. So thank you, Anonymous. Thank you so much for your email. And I believe that your email is actually going to help quite a lot of people who are listening to the podcast Life Leftovers. Well, firstly, I can say thank you for reaching out. Honestly, I can't say that enough. I'm happy that you reached out to me and that you've trusted me with this information. And I'm going to do the best of my ability to help you with this situation. Now, I can tell you that what you're going through, you are not in it alone. There's a lot of people who are going through this. There are people who are actually going through it even as married. There are people who are going through it in relationships that have been for years and years, and they just decide to, out of the blue, cut it. And it's caused a lot of rift within their relationships. But at the end of the day, it's all about what you're comfortable with, and it's also about what you want to achieve within the relationship itself, and what you want to achieve in life for yourself. So sometimes it's hard to tell someone that you like that you don't want to have sex with them. But talking about what you do and don't want to do within sex department is actually an important part of your relationship. So how do you actually say no to sex? Well, saying no to sex should be as simple as, well, to be quite honest, Anna, you should be able to just say no. It's as simple as that. But in reality, you might feel pressured, maybe you're guilty, and you feel also manipulated or even coerced when you say no. Now, pressuring someone to have sex is actually never okay, and you deserve to have your own boundaries, especially your own boundaries, respected. And it may seem like everyone is doing it, but the truth is, like, most people, they wait until about 18. Never mind what you see on the telly, never mind what you hear. A lot of people are actually writing things that are not truth. But actually, the common age where most people do start getting into sexual activity is about 18 and 19 years old. Now, you have the right to decide for yourself, okay? And let's be honest, this is your body. And to say no to sex at any time, with any person, for any reason, even if you've already had it, but saying no to sex can be hard, especially if you haven't thought about how to say it before you need to. But you gotta bear in mind, Anna, and anybody else that's also possibly in this kind of a situation, that you should just be able to say no, okay? And if your boyfriend or girlfriend says no to sex, it's really important that you actually respect their decision, because they saying no, it's not to you. And that's what sexual consent is actually all about. It has nothing to do with your relationship. It's really about how you feel, how your body feels towards this subject and towards this activity. Now, no, the word no is such a simple word, honestly. But saying no can be hard, especially when you're saying it to somebody that you care about. I mean, like, for example, Anna, you told me that you've been seeing this person for like 3 years and you've been best friends even before that, and the feelings caught on, and now you are dating and you're a couple, and you've promised this person that they're going to have your whole entire being after you finish your matric year, and now you've kind of feel like you're still not ready to give it up yet. So you got to be confident and actually know what you want. And what I like is you, Anna, you already are that. This means that you've thought about this through, and you've actually wanting to wait before you in such a situation. So it's always best to let him know before you go into this whole entire year, and he's just really looking forward to it, and it's one of the goals that he set as definitely something that's going to happen. But then because of the way you feel towards it right now, that's not going to happen. You don't see yourself doing that. So it's always best to talk about it earlier, and it's always best to get it out of the way, because then you're going to be disappointing him. And in all fairness, he's allowed to be disappointed because this is what you promised him. Now, to say no, you don't owe anyone, especially even someone you definitely love, an explanation for you, why you actually don't want to do this. You can actually explain it if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't owe it to anybody to give them an explanation. Personally, I think, as a young person and as a human being, never mind just being a young person, I just feel that as a human being, whether you're a boy or you're a girl, I still believe that it's best for you to wait till you get married, because then that way you can have one person that you trust completely, and already you're in the sanctity of honesty and realness, you understand? So that's just my 2 cents of it. But if you don't feel that way, it's fine. Like, here at Life Leftovers, we don't judge anybody, just like we don't judge anybody on Rosie and at Breakfast Leftovers. We don't judge anybody. So you are more than welcome to do exactly what you want to do and what you feel is actually comfortable for you to do. Because what happens is, if you're going to look at somebody else's way of thinking in making your decisions, it's going to be a problem, because you don't have that person all the time, and you're going to be relying on them, and they're going to be a crutch to make even important decisions. And the decision of you having sex or not having sex is completely only up to you. What I can do, as I'm doing right now, is help you, as you've asked like Anna has asked me to help her in telling her boyfriend that no, not this year, I'm still not ready. And you can also let them know that you really do like or love them. I think that's the first thing. You gotta tell them, like, I love you or I like you a lot, but I just feel like I'm not ready to get my body to do that. I'm not saying that I'm not committed to you. I'm completely committed to you, but I feel like my body's not ready for it. And like I said, you don't know anybody an explanation. You don't have to give them a reason. You don't have to tell them, what's going on in your life that made you decide this. You don't have to do any of that whatsoever. You can literally just say no. And young girls and young boys, it can happen that you go out with your friends or yourself and you go drinking, and you feel like pressurized into having sex because maybe somebody bought you something and they put the pressure on you. Get away from that person quickly as possible, because there's no price for that. There is no price. It's really shameful for somebody to think that your private part is actually so cheap that a bottle can just possess it, or a ride home can possess it, or even worse, just a favor can possess it. So please just be careful, because there are people out there and they do also drug people's drinks and make them very easily targets in order for them to get raped and so forth. And we're living in a society whereby there's a lot of evil that's going on. There's a lot of hatred that's going on, and there's a lot of people that just don't care about the next person. And honestly, to be quite fair, is you need to be very, very careful, and you need to stay away from those people. And this is only for yourself, and this is really about protecting yourself, and this is really about loving yourself here. Because what happens is you find somebody buying you a drink, and then they slip a pill in there, and before you know it, you wake up in the morning in a random place and they treat you very, very nicely, but in reality you did not consent to it. And because you didn't consent to it, it does mean it is rape. And if you are drugged, it obviously is rape. And if somebody forces themselves on you, obviously that is rape. Even a touch, a simple touch, sexual harassment, it's a no. When you feel that there's a family member or a brother or a cousin or an uncle, whoever, even if next door neighbor or somebody from the church or somebody from school, a teacher or whatever the case may be, if you feel extremely uncomfortable with the way they look at you or the way they touch you, it is your right to actually go to them and say, I don't like this. I don't like what you're doing. Can you please stop it? I'd really appreciate it if you stop it. I mean, having manners is also a good way to, you can snap at them. You find some people that are like, hey, Wena, don't look at me, if you can do that, go for it. You know what I'm saying? No one's judging. Because at the end of the day, the job gets done. You get to tell them exactly what you're feeling and what's on your mind and what's making you uncomfortable. Hopefully it comes to a date still, because that's not what you want, and you don't want to deal and live with things that you really don't want and need. So I totally get it. Another thing that you also need to be careful about, girls, is that sometimes, and I've seen this many times, is, you all go out together and you don't come back together. And that is very dangerous, because you are your sister's keeper. Okay, you are your sister's keeper. You gotta be the one that protects her. You gotta be the one that comforts and shelters her. You gotta be the one that has her back constantly. You understand? The mere fact that you went out together with her, it makes you guys friends. It means you have a bond. It means you have a written contract to protect one another and not be bitches to each other. So it's really important that you keep it in your mentality that the sisters and the girls that you go out with, that you protect one another. And if one of you feels like, I need to derail and go somewhere with this guy who likes me, well, if this guy really likes you, the right thing he's gonna do, he's possibly gonna come back and then talk to you. He's possibly gonna come back the following day, give them your numbers You don't have to necessarily go off into the darkness with somebody that you just met, because you also got to remember that you've been drinking and you've been partying. Your mind is not necessarily in a sober state right now, and you are susceptible to making ridiculous mistakes that you will regret for the rest of your life. So it's always best, like, honestly, if you go out as crew, as a group of girls or as a group of guys, come back together and drop those phone numbers or take that person's numbers and contact them. If they really still like you, then they'll be in communication with you, rather than you going home and having a one night stand and then tomorrow morning you feel like serious trash, because this is what you did to yourself and this is what you did to your body, and you feel worthless. And you could have completely avoided that by just giving them the numbers and saying, let's meet up another time. And you might find that even when you meet up another time, those sparks that were flying on that day that you met the first time, they probably don't even exist. And it just goes to show that it was really about the atmosphere. You understand? So I don't want you to regret anything. I don't want you to regret a lot of yourself, like the decisions that you make, because at the end of the day, we are human and we make mistakes, and it's kind of normal to make mistakes. As I'm moving away to do something important, but I'm back now. I'm back. So it is normal to make like mistakes, okay? And if you've made those mistakes, also remember to forgive yourself. The most important thing is to forgive yourself, because it's in forgiving yourself do you grow. It's in forgiving yourself do you wake up to the reality that you are human and you're allowed to make mistakes, and you're allowed to fall sometimes. You're allowed to fumble. You're allowed to fall on your ass. You're allowed to fall on your face. You understand? You're allowed to, graze your knees and elbows, because that's what you are. You are human and you make mistakes, and it's possible that you can come out of those mistakes. What I like is the word of God, like the Bible. It says that there is no temptation that God does not know, and that you cannot overcome. Basically, in the nutshell, when it says, for me, my favorite part of this whole entire scripture is that you are able to stand up underneath it. So that's quite big and that's quite boss, being able to stand up underneath a temptation or a situation or some kind of hardship. So I'm thanking you, Anonymous, really big time, for your email that you sent through, in having your relationship for 3 years with this boy that you really love and care about so much, but you still feel like you're not ready to have sex. It's very mature of you to reach out. You shouldn't be sticking, suffering alone. That shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be suffering alone. You should be getting help and you should be getting support. And I'm very glad that you've picked me to give you that help and to give you that support. I've got you, girl. I've got your back. And like I said, just to summarize everything, it's a lie. It's my wording. You can tell, like, I'm so passionate about this. I'm not even losing the ability to speak, right? But it's okay for you to say no. And it is okay for you to not even have an excuse for saying no. And it is okay for you to wait till you're 50 if you want. Don't be pressurized because people are doing things, and don't be pressurized by the person that you're with, because if somebody coerces you to do something that you don't want, already that relationship is unhealthy. And somebody might tell you, but boys, how boys are, or how girls are, when they want something, But the thing is, if they start to threaten you and say things like no, then this relationship is not going to last. Just because of that, then you know that this person is manipulative and is also a gaslighter. And I feel like we're definitely going to have a talk about gaslighting really, really soon. And it's definitely something that I also learned recently, about late last year in 2021. And I honestly feel like with gaslighting, it's a huge topic and it needs to be discussed on its own, life leftovers. But honestly, thank you, Anonymous, for your email. And I hope to hear from you. I hope that the advice worked. And I hope you also let us know after you've spoken to him and how he reacted, and if you guys are still together, because we really hope that you're still together. I mean, come on, high school love. Who doesn't love that story ending up well with 10 kids in a big house, and everybody's working, got their own cars. I really hope the best for you and wish you the ultimate best. So, thank you. Mwah. Now, let's talk about this playlist today. I'm playing you the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And this was from this album was amazing. And this is when she's basically talking about love and her feelings and what's going on in her relationships and so forth. So the songs that I played and started with was Can't Take My Eyes Off You, which is a cover of Bob Marley's track. And then there was also Doo-Wop, that thing, every ghetto, every city, everything in everything rather. And then right now it's X Factor. So make sure you keep subscribing. Please subscribe onto my channel, which is called the Alterna.rose channel. And we talk about all sorts of stuff. It's all fantastic. If you like animals, there's something there for you. And if you like these deep conversations, there's also, life leftovers about relationships. And I also always talk about relationships within the podcast as well for Rosalie and on Breakfast Leftovers. So if there's any other topic that you feel that you would like me to tackle, all you got to do is send me an email at Alterna.rose@gmail.com. Alternatively, you can hit me up with an inbox anywhere, and then you can write it down, because I'm very chilled like that. I'm Rose Jock on Twitter, so you can follow me and DM me, and I'll definitely get back to you, and we'll make a topic and a conversation out of it. And the thing is, we should learn. Honestly, life is all about loving, and it's all about learning and thriving, obviously, through all this whole entire journey. So from me, Rosalie Ann, this is Life Leftovers. Have a wonderful day, evening, morning, second. And remember, you can download these podcasts, listen to them anywhere you want, and share with your friends as well. That'll be awesome. And also like it. Please like it. Thank you. So for myself, Rosie Ann, on the amazing Life Leftovers, opening the doorway, anonymous, with her amazing email on how to say no to sex. I hope I've answered every single one of your questions that you had even in your heart, and all the ones that you've sent through in the email. I believe it should cover it within this conversation. But have a fantastic life, and remember to live thrivingly. Okay? Ciao.